Before the NBA season starts, most fans have an idea or a prediction of who they think will win the NBA awards, specifically MVP. Now that we are a few games into the NBA season, I think it's time to start talking about a few players who could be sleeper picks to win the MVP. Let's get right into it. The first player we're going to talk about in today's video is Kyrie Irving, and if you have watched Kyrie Irving so far this season, you know he has been absolutely tearing it up. In the opening game, he dropped 50 points and was one shot away from hitting a game winner and sending the NBA world into a frenzy, but the Nets haven't had as much success as you might think, especially considering that Kyrie Irving has done such a great job so far. Another thing to note is that Kyrie Irving obviously got off to a hot start with the Celtics. Everybody was excited to have him on the Celtics, and then things went downhill very quickly after that. However, Kyrie does seem a lot happier than he did on the Celtics, and I think that the Brooklyn Nets was the right place for him to go, but I guess we will just have to see. So far, his stats on this season are 32 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 8 assists per game on around 47% shooting from the field and 38% from 3. And keep in mind, these are rounded stats, so I'm just kind of approximating what he is averaging. And also, by the time that you're watching this video, his stats could be a little bit different. So, as of right now, the time that I'm recording this video, that is when these stats are current, but if you look at his numbers right now, obviously, those are MVP type numbers. And the only thing that I think will hold Kyrie Irving back from being a legit candidate for MVP is the Brooklyn Nets record. I think that the chemistry so far is not where it needs to be for them to have the success that I think that they can have. And obviously, once Kevin Durant comes back, they'll be a much better team. But Kevin Durant coming back is also a reason that I think that this is the ultimate, this is the year that Kyrie Irving has to win MVP, because I think that once KD comes back, the touches will be split, the numbers will be split, and he won't have as much of a chance to show himself as an MVP contender. So if the Nets can have success and if Kyrie Irving can keep putting up these numbers, I think that he will be a legit MVP candidate by the time the end of the season comes. The next guy on this list is KarlAnthony Towns, and similar to Kyrie Irving, he has been absolutely tearing it up so far earlier in this season, and I think it's fair to say that everybody on this list has been tearing it up so far this season. That's why they're on this list, so I'll quit saying that. But his numbers so far have been 27 points per game, 12 rebounds per game, 4 assists per game on 52% shooting from the field and 38% from 3. So pretty nice numbers so far. And the difference between him and Kyrie Irving is that the T-Wolves have actually been winning so far this season, something that hasn't happened for them in past years, and I think that KarlAnthony Towns is a big reason for their success. Obviously, it's not Andrew Wiggins. Obviously, Andrew Wiggins peaked his rookie year, and obviously the T-Wolves haven't really been good in the past, but it seems like that they are kind of coming together a little bit more, and it seems like even though I don't think that they're even really close to being title contenders, it seems like they can actually be a playoff team this year if they keep it up. I still think that they are a piece away, maybe even 2 pieces away from being a real playoff contention, title contending team, but KarlAnthony Towns has been very impressive so far. And I think that because of his success, he will be in talks at least in the near future for MVP. Now, if the T-Wolves do slow down, he probably will fall out of MVP contention. And obviously, if he slows down, he won't be considered for MVP. Obviously, the award is very based off of wins. So in order for them to win, I think that the T-Wolves need to get a top 4-5 seed in the West, which, let's be honest, is unrealistic, but you never know. I just wanted to put him on this list because he has been absolutely killing it so far this season, and I think he deserves some recognition. The next guy we have on this list is Luka Doncic, and after coming off of an amazing rookie season, I know I didn't expect him to be a lot greater. I mean, obviously we all expected Luka Doncic to improve a little, but even though he had an amazing rookie season, it looks like he is twice as good as he was last season. So far, he is averaging 27 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, 9 assists per game on 47% shooting from the field and 33% from 3. He's 1 assist away from averaging a triple-double in his second year in the NBA as a 20-year-old. Is he 20 or 21? I'm not sure. But dude would be the youngest MVP ever, I believe, even younger than Derrick Rose if he were to win it this season. He's 1 assist away from averaging a triple-double, like I said. And obviously, it's very early in the season. I don't expect him to keep putting up these type of numbers. But if his numbers are even similar to this at the end of the season, I have no doubt that he will be a legit candidate for MVP. And if the Dallas Mavericks can continue this success, I wouldn't be surprised if Luka Doncic is the front runner for MVP this season. Next up, we have a man in Trey Young who came behind Luka Doncic for Rookie of the Year and will probably end up behind Luka Doncic for MVP this season as well. But I don't think it will be because of him, or at least not because of him alone. The Hawks are very bad, and with John Collins, the second best player on the Hawks, suspended for about a third of the season, it is looking even worse for the Hawks than it already was. However, like I said, not Trey Young's fault. He's been absolutely balling out this season, and he's another guy who made improvements that I don't think a lot of people expected coming off of an amazing rookie season. So far this season, he is averaging 24 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, 8 assists per game on 46% shooting, and 41% from 3. So very good numbers, especially, like I said, for being in his second season. And while his numbers aren't as impressive as Luka Doncic's, he still has been one of the more impressive point guards in the NBA so far this season. Like I said before, the only thing really holding back Trey Young from being an MVP, and the main reason why I ultimately think this is not the year for him to win the MVP or even really be in serious consideration for the MVP, is because his team is bad. But as the young players develop, as they gain more chemistry, as they grow together, I think that Trey Young will definitely be an MVP candidate for years to come. The fifth and final player we'll be talking about today is Devin Booker. And probably the most surprising improvement for Devin Booker this season has not been in his numbers or himself. It has been the Phoenix Suns. They have looked absolutely amazing this season. They've even taken down some of the top teams so far. Even though it is early in the season, the Suns definitely look like a new team, like a reborn team, like a completely brand new team despite having almost all the same players. It is very surprising, but somehow they are winning games now. And Devin Booker is the leader of that team, and he's probably one of the biggest reasons for that. Even though his numbers are not way better than they have been in past seasons, obviously his numbers are leading to wins, and obviously he is still the star player of the Phoenix Suns. His stats so far this season are 26 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game on 54% shooting from the field and 50% from the three-point line. So obviously not huge numbers, but he is shooting a crazy efficient percentage, especially from 3, 50% from 3, and he's a guy who is known as a three-point shooter. That's absolutely ridiculous. Obviously, his numbers aren't as good as Luka Doncic's or Kyrie Irving's, or maybe some of the other guys who are putting up in like insane numbers this season. But if the Phoenix Suns can keep it up and can end up being one of the top teams in the West with Devin Booker as their star player, I think his numbers are definitely good enough to get him a nod for MVP. And I think that this could be the year that we see Devin Booker in the playoffs, making a playoff run, and ultimately winning an MVP award if, like I said, the Suns can keep it up. That brings us to the end of the video. Please like, subscribe, and comment if you enjoyed. The purpose of this video was just to kind of bring up a few names that we don't usually hear in MVP talks. Obviously, we all know LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard, Giannis, the Greek Freak. They're all going to be in MVP talks. I just wanted to bring out a few other names that look like they might be in MVP contention at the end of the season. Obviously, probably most of these guys on this list will not be in MVP contention at the end of the season, but it's fun to do. Like I said, like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks.